Have you ever wondered what truly separates the achievers from the dreamers? What is the invisible force that propels some individuals to the pinnacles of success, while others, equally talented, remain stuck in mediocrity? It's not luck, and it's not circumstance. It is a science, a law, that can be learned and applied by anyone. The core problem that this masterpiece solves is the universal struggle against unrealized potential. We live in an age of unprecedented opportunity, yet so many feel lost, lacking a clear roadmap to transform their ambitions into reality. This book is more important today than ever, because it cuts through the noise of quick fixes and fleeting trends, offering a timeless foundational philosophy for building a life of purpose, wealth, and influence. This philosophy was distilled by Napoleon Hill, who, at the behest of the industrial titan Andrew Carnegie, spent over 2 decades studying the lives of the world's most successful individuals, people like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Theodore Roosevelt. The result of that monumental study is the book we are exploring today, Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Welcome back to Summary, in 15 minutes where ideas turn into action and books change lives. Let's dive into the powerful lessons from Law of Success. Chapter 1. The Power of a Definite Chief Aim. We begin with the very cornerstone of Napoleon Hill's entire philosophy, the foundation upon which all other principles are built. This is not merely the first step, it is the master step. It is the principle that gives life, direction, and power to everything else you will ever do. This is the law of a definite chief aim. Imagine 2 ships leaving a harbor. One ship has a captain, a crew, a detailed map, and a specific destination programmed into its navigation system. Every action taken on board, from the angle of the sails to the management of the engine, is done with that single destination in mind. Storms may come, and the journey may be challenging, but the ship's course is constantly corrected, always oriented toward its final port. Now, imagine the second ship. It has no captain, no map, and no destination. The engine is running, the sails are up, but it simply drifts out of the harbor. It is at the complete mercy of the winds and the currents. It may drift in circles, it may be pushed into treacherous waters, and it will almost certainly end up shipwrecked on some desolate shore, or worse, lost forever at sea. Which ship represents your life? Most people go through life like that second ship. They are filled with potential, a powerful engine, and magnificent sails, but without a clear, defined destination, they drift. They are pushed around by the opinions of others, the circumstances of the day, and the fleeting desires of the moment. They work hard, they expend enormous energy, but that energy is scattered in 1,000 different directions. The result is a life of quiet desperation, unfulfilled potential, and a nagging feeling that they were meant for more. A definite chief aim is the act of seizing the helm of your own ship. It is the conscious, deliberate choice of a destination for your life's journey. It is a single, clear, specific, and all-consuming purpose that becomes the central organizing principle of your existence. It is not a vague wish, like, I want to be happy, or I want to be successful. Those are not destinations, they are abstract feelings. A definite chief aim is concrete. It is measurable. It is a statement of intent so powerful that it galvanizes your every thought, your every action, and aligns every fiber of your being toward its attainment. The psychology of definiteness, why it works. To understand the immense power of this principle, we must first understand a fundamental truth about the human mind. Your mind, specifically your subconscious mind, works most effectively when it has a clear instruction. The subconscious mind is the powerhouse of your being, It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It does not judge or reason. It simply accepts the commands you give it and works tirelessly to manifest them in your physical reality. When you operate without a definite chief aim, you are feeding your subconscious a chaotic jumble of conflicting thoughts, fears, and desires. One moment you think about starting a business, the next you worry about paying your bills, the next you're distracted by a news headline. Your powerful subconscious mind receives all these mixed signals and, lacking a primary command, can produce nothing but chaos and confusion in your life. It's like a brilliant factory filled with the best machinery, but with a foreman who keeps shouting contradictory orders to the workers. The result is inaction and waste. However, the moment you define, write down, and begin to focus on a single, definite chief aim, you give your subconscious mind its master command. You are telling that factory foreman, "This is the one product we are creating. All resources, all energy, and all machinery are to be devoted to this single objective." Suddenly, everything changes. This single dominant thought begins to organize all your other thoughts around it. It acts as a mental magnet, pulling all your mental energy toward a single point of focus. This is the difference between diffused sunlight and a concentrated laser beam. Diffused sunlight can warm a surface, but a laser, which is nothing more than focused light, can cut through steel. Your mind, when focused by a definite chief aim, develops that same cutting power. It can slice through obstacles, overcome procrastination, and dissolve difficulties that once seemed insurmountable. Furthermore, adopting a definite chief aim activates a part of your brain known as the reticular activating system, or RAS. The RAS is the filter for the billions of bits of information that bombard your senses every second. It determines what you notice and what you ignore. When you don't have a clear goal, your RAS operates on a default, survival-based setting. But when you program it with a definite chief aim, for example, "My aim is to become a world-class public speaker," your RAS begins to actively scan your environment for anything related to that goal. You'll suddenly start noticing articles about public speaking. You'll overhear conversations about Toastmasters. You'll see an advertisement for a speaking coach that you would have completely ignored a week earlier. The opportunities were always there. The difference is that now, your mind is tuned to perceive them. A definite chief aim transforms your brain from a passive receiver into an active, goal-seeking missile, constantly scanning the world for the people, resources, and opportunities that will help you reach your target. How to formulate and cement your definite chief aim. Knowing the power of a definite chief aim is one thing. Creating and applying it is another. Napoleon Hill provides a clear, practical, and non-negotiable formula for doing this. It is not a suggestion. It is a process that must be followed with precision and faith. Step 1. Be absolutely specific. Your subconscious mind does not deal in generalities. You must be crystal clear about what you want. "I want to be rich" is a useless, powerless wish. How much money, specifically? "I will have in my possession 100. That is specific. "I want a better job" is a daydream. What is that job specifically? "I will be the head of marketing at XYZ Corporation." That is a target. You must define your aim so clearly that you could draw a picture of it, describe it in minute detail, and know without a shadow of a doubt when you have achieved it. You must also set a specific deadline. "I will achieve this by December 30, honest, 2028. A goal without a deadline is merely a dream. The deadline creates a sense of urgency and provides a finish line for your subconscious mind to race toward. Step 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return. This is the step that separates the dreamers from the doers. There is no such thing as something for nothing. The universe operates on a law of exchange. You must determine what you are willing to sacrifice, what price you are willing to pay to achieve your aim. This price may be in the form of time giving up leisurely evenings to study and work on your plan. It may be in the form of effort pushing past your comfort zone, making sales calls you're afraid to make, practicing a skill until you master it. It may be in the form of giving up limiting habits, like procrastination or negative thinking. Be specific about the price. In return for this 100, I will give the most efficient and customer-centric service of which I am capable as a financial consultant. I will dedicate 10 hours per week to my professional development, and I will give up my habit of watching mindless television. By defining the price, you are making a contract with yourself and with the universe. You are showing that you are serious. Step 3. Create a definite, concrete plan. An aim without a plan is just a wish. You must immediately begin to create a logical plan for achieving your goal. You don't need to have the entire path mapped out from start to finish. In fact, you almost certainly won't. But you must create a plan for the first steps. Who do you need to talk to? What skills do you need to acquire? What is the very first physical action you can take to move you, even 1 inch, closer to your goal? The very act of creating a plan, no matter how imperfect, signals to your subconscious mind that you are moving from the world of thought into the world of action. And then, most importantly, you must begin to act on that plan at once. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Step 4. Write it all down in a clear, concise statement. This step is critical. Do not keep your aim in your head. The act of writing crystallizes thought into form. It makes your intention tangible. Your written statement should combine the previous 3 steps into a powerful declaration of intent. For example, by December 30, honest 2028, I will have in my possession 100, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, in the quantity and quality of a world-class financial consultant. I will create a definite plan to achieve this, starting with acquiring 3 new high-value clients this month, and I will begin working on my plan immediately. I believe I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see it before my eyes. I can feel it in my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time and in the proportion that I deliver the service I intend to give in return. Step 5. The master step. Autosuggestion and emotionalization. This final step is what ignites the entire process. You must read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once after arising in the morning, and once just before retiring at night. As you read it, you must see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of your goal. You must close your eyes and visualize the reality of your success. What does it feel like to have that money in your bank account? How does it feel to be in that position you desire? What emotions, joy, gratitude, confidence does it bring? This is not simple repetition. This is a process of deep emotionalization. You are impregnating your subconscious mind with the feeling state of your wish fulfilled. When you combine a clear thought, the written statement, with a powerful emotion, the feeling of success, you create a belief. And when that belief becomes a burning, all-consuming obsession, the subconscious mind has no choice but to accept it as a command and begin maneuvering the circumstances of your life to match that inner reality. This is the essence of faith in action. It is the bridge between the invisible world of thought and the visible world of results. Overcoming the enemies of a definite chief aim. The path to achieving a great aim is never without its obstacles. Your greatest enemies will not be external circumstances, but internal weaknesses. The first enemy is procrastination. It is the voice that says, "I'll start tomorrow." A definite chief aim must be acted upon now. The moment you have your plan, take the first step, no matter how small. Make that phone call. Write that first paragraph. Register that domain name. Action is the only antidote to procrastination and the fear that fuels it. The second enemy is indecision. People without a definite purpose are easily swayed by the opinions of others. They are constantly second-guessing themselves. Once you have set your definite chief aim, make a resolution to close your mind to all negative and discouraging influences, including the well-meaning but misguided advice from friends and relatives who may not understand your vision. Trust your own counsel. The third enemy is doubt. Doubt is a corrosive acid that dissolves the power of your intentions. It is the antithesis of faith. This is why the daily ritual of autosuggestion is so vital. You are consciously and deliberately replacing the weeds of doubt with the seeds of faith and belief. Every time you read your statement and feel the emotion of success, you are strengthening your faith and starving your doubt. Finally, you must understand the nature of temporary defeat. You will face setbacks. Your plans will go awry. You will be knocked down. The person without a definite chief aim interprets this as failure and quits. But the person with a burning definite purpose sees temporary defeat for what it is, a signal to change the plan, not the aim. It is feedback. It is a lesson. For those who persist, every failure contains within it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Your definite chief aim is your anchor in these storms, the unwavering light that guides you forward when all seems lost. In conclusion, your definite chief aim is the starting point of all riches, both material and spiritual. It is the tool by which you take control of your destiny rather than leaving it to chance. It focuses the infinite power of your mind, activates the goal-seeking mechanisms within your brain, and transforms you from a drifter into a person of power and purpose. It is the difference between hoping for a good life and designing one. Choose your destination. Chart your course. State your price. Write your contract. And then, with unwavering faith, begin the journey today. Chapter 2. Building unshakable self-confidence. If your definite chief aim is the detailed architectural blueprint for the magnificent skyscraper you intend to build with your life, then self-confidence is the master builder. It is the unwavering belief in your own hands, your own mind, and your own spirit to take that blueprint and turn it into a physical reality, brick by brick, no matter the storms, the delays, or the challenges you may face. Without this builder, the most brilliant blueprint in the world is nothing more than a piece of paper, a forgotten dream gathering dust. Many people mistake self-confidence for arrogance, for loud boasts, or an inflated ego. But true, unshakable self-confidence is the opposite. It is a quiet, internal force. It is a deep-seated knowledge and faith in your own abilities, your own value, and your own power to meet life's challenges. It is the spine of your ambition, the internal pillar that holds you upright when the gravity of doubt and the winds of criticism try to pull you down. Without it, your definite chief aim, no matter how clearly defined, will crumble at the first sign of resistance. With it, you become an unstoppable force of nature. The great tragedy is that we are not born with a lack of confidence. As children, we are filled with it. We believe we can be astronauts, presidents, or superheroes. We are not afraid to try, to fail, to get up and try again. But then, life begins to happen. A careless word from a teacher, a discouraging remark from a parent, a failure that we misinterpret, or the constant, subtle suggestions of our limitations from the world around us. All these things begin to plant seeds of doubt. These seeds, if left unattended, grow into the poisonous weeds of fear, and fear is the mortal enemy of self-confidence. The 6 ghosts of fear, the assassins of confidence. To build unshakable self-confidence, you must first become a warrior. You must identify, confront, and systematically eliminate the enemies that reside within your own mind. Napoleon Hill calls these enemies the 6 ghosts of fear. They are not real, tangible entities. They are phantoms, states of mind that you allow to occupy the precious real estate of your consciousness. But their effect on your life is devastatingly real. 1. The fear of poverty. This is the most destructive and most common of all fears. It is not just the fear of being penniless. It is a deep-seated poverty consciousness. It is the fear of lack, of not having enough, which paralyzes ambition and suffocates creativity. This fear whispers in your ear, "Don't take that risk, you might lose what little you have. Don't ask for that raise, they might say no or even fire you. Don't start that business, 90% of them fail." The fear of poverty breeds indecision, doubt, and worry. It makes you play not to win, but to not lose. It forces you to settle for a life far beneath your potential, simply because the familiar misery of mediocrity feels safer than the unknown territory of ambition. To build confidence, you must starve this ghost. You must replace a consciousness of lack with a consciousness of abundance, understanding that you are capable of creating all the value and therefore all the wealth that you require. 2. The fear of criticism. This is the ghost that has destroyed more dreams than any other. It is the primal fear of what other people will think or say. It's why aspiring artists hide their canvases, why would-be entrepreneurs never share their ideas, and why countless people live inauthentic lives, all to please a jury of peers who are likely too busy worrying about what others think of them. To give you a second thought, this fear forces you into a shell of conformity. It robs you of your individuality and your unique voice. To build confidence, you must develop a profound indifference to the unfounded opinions of others. You must understand that criticism is often a reflection of the critic's own fears and limitations, not your potential. Your definite chief aim is your aim, and it requires no one's approval but your own. 3. The fear of ill health. This fear manifests as a constant anxiety about your physical well-being. People haunted by this ghost live in a state of suggestion, always looking for symptoms, fearing every minor ache or pain as a sign of a terminal illness. This constant worry drains vital energy and enthusiasm that could be used to build a life of success. It creates the very conditions it fears by flooding the body with the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. True confidence is built upon a foundation of vitality. You must conquer this fear by taking conscious control of your health through proper nutrition, exercise, and right thinking, and by refusing to allow your mind to dwell on disease. 4. The fear of loss of love. This is a primal, deeply embedded fear. It can cause people to stay in toxic relationships, to compromise their values, and to make poor judgments out of jealousy and suspicion. In a professional context, it manifests as the need to be a people pleaser, afraid to make a firm decision for fear that someone might not like them anymore. Unshakable self-confidence requires you to understand that true love and respect, both personal and professional, are born from strength, authenticity, and self-respect, not from neediness or the fear of being abandoned. 5. The fear of old age. This is the fear of becoming irrelevant, of losing your physical and mental faculties, and of being left behind by the world. It can cause people to stop learning, stop growing, and to prematurely resign themselves to a life of decline. This fear is a lie. The mind, if continually stimulated, can grow sharper and wiser with age. Many of the greatest achievements in history were accomplished by men and women long past the age of 60. True confidence means embracing the wisdom and experience that comes with age, and understanding that your value is not tied to your youth, but to your mind and your spirit. 6. The fear of death. The final ghost is the fear of the unknown, the fear of eternal extinction. For many, this fear casts a shadow over their entire life, causing them to postpone their dreams with the thought that there's always tomorrow. This fear can be conquered by developing a personal philosophy of life, by focusing on living so fully and so purposefully that you leave a legacy that transcends your physical existence. A person with a definite chief aim is too busy living to be afraid of dying. Recognize these 6 ghosts for what they are: mental demons of your own creation. They are the termites that silently eat away at the foundation of your confidence. The first step to evicting them is to drag them out into the light of your consciousness and call them by name. The self-confidence formula. The 5-step affirmation for power. Once you have identified the enemy, you must go on the offensive. Napoleon Hill provides a powerful practical weapon for this fight. The self-confidence formula. This is not a piece of motivational fluff. It is a scientifically designed set of affirmations engineered to reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing the deeply ingrained patterns of fear and doubt with new, empowering patterns of unshakable belief. You must write this formula down, memorize it, and repeat it aloud with emotion and faith every single day until it becomes as much a part of you as your own heartbeat. Step 1. The affirmation of ability. You will say, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite chief aim in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Let's break this down. First, you state as a fact, I know that you possess the ability. You are not hoping or wishing. You are affirming a truth. Second, you connect this ability directly to your definite chief aim, giving your confidence a clear purpose. Third, you demand action from yourself. Confidence is not passive, it is active. This statement commits you to the work, bridging the gap between belief and behavior. Step 2. The affirmation of mental dominance. You will say, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. This is the principle of visualization. You are acknowledging the creative power of your thoughts. You are then committing to a specific daily practice to consciously hold the image of your ideal, confident self in your mind. By doing this, you are giving your subconscious mind the blueprint for the person you are becoming. Your subconscious will then work tirelessly to align your actions, your posture, your words, and your opportunities with that mental image. Step 3. The affirmation of autosuggestion. You will say, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Here, you are consciously engaging the mechanism of autosuggestion, the same tool you use to embed your definite chief aim. You are now using it with the specific intention of building the inner quality of self-confidence. You are not asking for it. You are demanding it from the deepest part of your being. This daily demand reinforces the programming and accelerates its manifestation. Step 4. The affirmation of purpose. You will say, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. This statement creates an unbreakable link between your goal and your state of being. It declares that the development of self-confidence is not optional. It is a non-negotiable prerequisite for achieving your life's purpose. It also builds persistence into your character, affirming that you will never stop trying, which is the very essence of a confident person. Step 5. The affirmation of ethical conduct. You will say, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. This final, crucial step is the moral compass of your confidence. It ensures that your self-belief is not built on a foundation of ego or exploitation, but on integrity. It aligns your personal ambition with the golden rule. It recognizes that true, lasting success and confidence come from creating value for others, not just for yourself. This ethical foundation makes your confidence pure, powerful, and magnetic. People are naturally drawn to and want to help the person who is not only confident in themselves, but is also committed to the well-being of others. Cementing confidence through action and competence. This five-fold formula is the way you plant the seed of confidence and water it daily. But for that seed to grow into a mighty oak, it needs the sunlight and soil of real-world action. Affirmations without action are the foundation of delusion. True confidence is always, eventually, rooted in proven competence. Think of it like building a pyramid. Every time you take a small action in the direction of your goal and succeed, you lay a stone in the foundation of your pyramid of competence. Maybe your goal is to be a great salesperson. Your first action might be to simply read a chapter of a book on sales. That's one stone. The next is to make one cold call, even if it's terrifying. You do it. That's another, bigger stone. Then you make 5 calls. Then you get 1 meeting. Then you close 1 small sale. Each action, each small victory, adds another stone to your pyramid. Over time, this pyramid grows from a small pile into a massive, unshakable structure. Your confidence is no longer just based on affirmations. It's based on a mountain of tangible evidence of your own ability. When the ghost of doubt whispers, "You can't do this," you can stand atop your pyramid of proven successes and say with absolute conviction, "Look at what I have already done. I can and I will." Confidence, therefore, is a muscle. The formula is your decision to go to the gym. But the real growth happens when you start lifting the weights, when you make the calls, write the proposal, give the speech, and face your fears head on. You start with the weights you can handle, and through persistent action, you grow stronger until you can lift what once seemed impossible. Unshakable self-confidence is not a gift bestowed upon a lucky few. It is a right that you can claim. It is a skill that you can develop. It is a choice that you make every single day. By banishing the 6 ghosts of fear, by engraving the self-confidence formula onto your heart and mind, and by courageously taking action, you transform yourself from a person who hopes for success into a person who expects it with every fiber of their being. You become the master builder, fully capable of constructing the life you have so clearly designed. Chapter 3. The Mastermind Principle. We have established the blueprint for success with a definite chief aim. We have begun the construction by forging the unshakable self-confidence needed to execute that plan. Now, we arrive at the principle that amplifies your power beyond all personal limitations. This is the secret weapon used by every great leader, every industrial titan, and every visionary who has ever left a significant mark on the world. This is the mastermind principle. Take a moment and think of any great achievement in human history. The creation of the electric light bulb, the founding of the Ford Motor Company, the American Declaration of Independence. On the surface, we often attribute these milestones to a single brilliant individual, an Edison, a Ford, a Jefferson. But if you look closer, behind every one of these iconic figures, you will find a council, a team, a supportive spouse, a trusted partner, or a group of allies. No one, and this must be understood with absolute clarity, achieves great success alone. The human mind is incredibly powerful, but individual power is always finite. The mastermind principle is the method by which you can tap into a power that is infinite. So what is a mastermind? Napoleon Hill defines it with beautiful precision. A mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Let's dissect that definition, for every word is crucial. It is not just a group of people. It is a coordination of their knowledge and effort. It is not just a business meeting. It is conducted in a spirit of absolute harmony. And it is not a social club. It is focused with laser-like intensity on the attainment of a single definite purpose. Imagine a single log in a fireplace. On its own, it smolders. It produces a little heat, a little light, but its energy is weak and it quickly burns out. Now, imagine placing 2 logs together. The heat from one feeds the other, and together they produce a flame. Add a 3rd and a 4th log, and you no longer have a simple fire. You have a roaring blaze, an inferno of heat and light that is exponentially more powerful than the sum of the individual logs burning alone. This is precisely how the mastermind works. When 2 or more minds come together in a spirit of perfect harmony, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. An invisible, intangible third mind is created. This third mind is a psychic force, an energy field of thought that has access to knowledge, ideas, and creative flashes of inspiration that are completely unavailable to any of the individual members on their own. It is through this invisible third mind that you can solve impossible problems, see around corners, and attract the opportunities necessary to achieve your definite chief aim. The chemistry of the mind, the science behind the magic. To the uninitiated, this may sound like mysticism, but Hill insisted it was based on a form of science, what he called mental chemistry. He posited that the human brain is both a broadcasting and a receiving station for the vibrations of thought. When you are alone, you are broadcasting and receiving on your own frequency, limited by the knowledge and experience stored within your own brain. However, when you bring another mind into the equation, and you align it with your own in a state of perfect harmony and focus, something extraordinary happens. The thought vibrations of the two minds synchronize and amplify one another. They create a new, more powerful and higher frequency vibration. This amplified broadcast does two things. First, it stimulates each individual brain to function at a much higher level of creativity and perception. Ideas that were buried deep in the subconscious are brought to the surface. Second, this powerful thought vibration acts like a magnet, attracting similar thought vibrations from the ether, what some might call the collective unconscious or infinite intelligence. This is why, during a true mastermind session, a member will suddenly voice a brilliant idea that seems to have come from nowhere. It did not originate solely from their own mind. It was downloaded from this third mind, this pool of intelligence created by the harmonious alliance. The critical catalyst in this entire chemical reaction is harmony. This cannot be overstated. Harmony in this context means more than just being polite. It means a complete alignment of purpose and spirit. It means deep mutual trust, respect, and a willingness for each member to subordinate their personal ego for the good of the group's definite purpose. Even one single negative, envious, or discordant mind in the group can corrupt the chemistry and destroy the connection to the third mind. It is like adding a drop of poison to a glass of pure water. The entire vessel becomes contaminated. Without perfect harmony, a mastermind group is just a committee meeting a place where ideas often go to die. With perfect harmony, it is a gateway to genius. How to build and engage your personal mastermind alliance. Understanding the theory is the first step. Now, let's move to the practical application. How do you, starting today, begin to build and benefit from this immense power? Step 1. Clarify your definite purpose. Before you can assemble a team, you must know exactly what game you are playing and what the finish line looks like. Your definite chief aim must be crystallized, written down, and fully committed to memory. This purpose will be the constitution of your mastermind group, the central sun around which all members will orbit. If your purpose is vague, you will attract unfocused people, and your alliance will drift aimlessly, just like the ship without a rudder. Step 2. Carefully select your members. This is perhaps the most critical step in the entire process. The selection of your mastermind partners will make or break your success. Quality over quantity. A small, harmonious group of 2 or 3 is infinitely more powerful than a large group of 20 filled with discord. Andrew Carnegie's personal mastermind, which fueled his steel empire, consisted of over 50 men at its peak, but he built it carefully over many years. You should start small. In fact, the most powerful and natural mastermind alliance is often between 2 people, a husband and wife who are in perfect harmony and working toward a shared life purpose. Complementary skills and knowledge. You are not looking for carbon copies of yourself. You are looking for people who fill your gaps. If you are a brilliant inventor but a terrible salesperson, your first mastermind partner must be someone who excels at sales and marketing. If you are a visionary with grand ideas but struggle with details and execution, you need a partner who is a meticulous planner and implementer. Conduct a ruthless self-assessment. Be honest about your weaknesses, and then seek out members whose strengths neutralize those weaknesses. Character above all else. Look for people who are positive, loyal, dependable, and decisive. They must possess a sincere desire to contribute, not just to take. They must be willing to both offer and receive constructive criticism without ego or offense. The most important trait to screen for is their ability to engage in harmonious cooperation. Avoid, at all costs, the chronic pessimist, the gossip, the person who is always complaining, and the individual whose ego demands that they always be the smartest person in the room. Step trace. Establish a clear, mutual benefit. For a mastermind alliance to last, it must be built on a foundation of fairness and mutual benefit. Each member must have a compelling reason to dedicate their time and mental energy to the group. The law of something for nothing does not exist. Clearly define what each member will give to the group and what each member will receive in return. The compensation does not have to be financial, although it often is in business alliances. It could be the acquisition of specialized knowledge, valuable networking opportunities, moral support and accountability, or simply the psychic satisfaction of contributing to a meaningful, world-changing project. When everyone feels they are receiving fair value for their contribution, their commitment will be absolute. Step 4. Institute a formal cadence and structure. A mastermind alliance cannot be a casual, haphazard affair. It requires discipline and structure. Meet regularly. Establish a consistent meeting schedule once a week is ideal, and treat this appointment as sacred. It should not be canceled or postponed for anything short of a true emergency. This consistency builds momentum. Have a clear agenda. Each meeting should be purposeful. The sole objective is to brainstorm solutions, create plans, and hold members accountable for progress toward the group's definite purpose. This is not the time for idle chatter or complaining about problems. It is a working session for the minds, the mastermind process. A typical meeting might involve one member presenting a specific challenge or opportunity they are facing. Then, the full creative and intellectual power of the entire group is focused on that single issue. Each member offers their insights, experience, and ideas in a spirit of open, harmonious brainstorming. This process is repeated for each member as needed. The leader of the group must act as a firm but fair conductor, ensuring the conversation stays on track and that harmony is maintained at all times. Illustrations of the mastermind in action. This principle is not abstract theory. It is the practical strategy behind every great fortune and every significant enterprise. Henry Ford. Ford's mastermind alliance was legendary. He surrounded himself with brilliant minds like Thomas Edison, the inventor, Harvey Firestone, the tire magnate, and John Burroughs, the naturalist. They were not all automotive experts, but their regular meetings, their deep friendship, and their harmonious exchange of ideas created the intellectual and spiritual environment that allowed Ford to persevere through his early failures and ultimately revolutionize the entire industrial world. His alliance with his wife Clara was perhaps his most important, as she provided the unwavering faith and support he needed during his most difficult years. Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie attributed his entire fortune to the power of his mastermind. He once said, "Take away my people, but leave my factories, and soon grass will grow on the factory floors. Take away my factories, but leave my people, and soon we will have a new and better factory." He was a master of organizing the knowledge of other men. He hired experts who knew far more about the technical aspects of steel manufacturing than he did, but his genius was in his ability to weave their individual talents into a perfectly coordinated, harmonious, and unstoppable industrial machine. Your own life. You do not need to be building an industrial empire to use this principle. Are you trying to get in the best physical shape of your life? A mastermind with a workout partner and a nutritionist could be your key to success. Are you an author struggling with writer's block? A mastermind with two other dedicated writers, where you critique each other's work and provide mutual encouragement, can be transformative. Even the simple act of confiding your greatest ambition to a supportive spouse or mentor and meeting with them regularly to discuss your progress is a form of a mastermind alliance that can dramatically increase your odds of success. In the final analysis, the mastermind principle is the key that unlocks the door to a power far greater than your own. It is the recognition that success is a team sport. By aligning yourself in a spirit of perfect harmony with other intelligent, driven individuals, you are not just adding their power to your own, you are multiplying it. You are creating a synergistic force capable of overcoming any obstacle, solving any problem, and achieving any definite purpose you can hold in your mind. Your definite chief aim is the destination. Your self-confidence is the vehicle. Your mastermind alliance is the high-octane fuel that will power your journey. Do not attempt to make the journey alone. Begin today to think about who you need on your team. Who has the knowledge you lack? Who has the experience you need? Who has the character and spirit that will create harmony? Find them. Form your alliance, and you will find that the speed at which you move toward your goal will increase tenfold. Chapter 4. The Force of Initiative and Leadership. We have now assembled the essential components for a magnificent journey. We have the destination programmed into our navigation system with a definite chief aim. We have the powerful all-terrain vehicle of unshakable self-confidence. And we have the high-performance engine, supercharged by the contributions of our mastermind alliance. All the potential is there. The power is immense. But a vehicle, no matter how powerful, goes nowhere until the driver turns the key and presses the accelerator. This chapter is about that critical, catalyzing action. It is about the spark that ignites the fuel, the force that transforms stationary potential into kinetic, world-altering motion. This is the principle of personal initiative and leadership. Personal initiative is the internal dynamo of the successful individual. It is that rare and priceless quality of doing the right thing without being told, of starting the action, of taking the first step while others are still waiting for instructions. It is the sworn enemy of procrastination, the slayer of indecision, and the inner voice that whispers, "Do it now." All the plans, beliefs, and alliances in the world are utterly worthless without the initiative to act upon them. The universe does not reward intention. It rewards action. Initiative is the bridge over which your thoughts must travel to become realities. And what is leadership? Leadership is simply initiative made, visible, magnified, and multiplied. You cannot possibly hope to lead and inspire others to action if you have not first mastered the art of leading yourself to action. The qualities that make one a dynamic person of initiative are the very same qualities that, when developed and refined, blossom into effective leadership. Therefore, to master this principle is to learn not only how to move yourself, but how to move the world. The habit of personal initiative, the engine of self-motivation. Initiative is not an inborn trait reserved for a select few. It is a habit that can be consciously and systematically cultivated by anyone willing to do the work. It is a mental muscle that grows stronger with every use. The person of initiative operates on a fundamentally different life paradigm than the average person. The average person is reactive. They wait to be pushed by circumstances. They wait for their boss to assign them a task. They wait for the perfect time to start their business. They wait for inspiration to strike before they write their book. Their life is a series of reactions to external stimuli, and as a result, they remain at the mercy of forces outside of their control. They are the driftwood of life, tossed about by the currents. The person of initiative, however, is proactive. They are the cause, not the effect. They are the captain of the ship, not a passive passenger. They understand that the perfect time is a myth, and the only time that truly exists is now. They cultivate a philosophy of do it now. When a constructive idea enters their mind, they act on it. When they see a problem that needs solving, they begin solving it without waiting for a committee to be formed. This habit of immediate, decisive action creates a powerful psychological force known as momentum. Just as it takes a massive amount of energy to get a train moving from a standstill, but far less to keep it rolling, so it is with our lives. The hardest part is always starting. The person of initiative masters the art of starting over and over until action becomes their default state. A cornerstone of the habit of initiative is what Hill calls the QQS formula, which stands for quality, quantity, and spirit. It means having the initiative to always render more service and better service than you are paid for, and to do it in a positive, harmonious spirit. This is often called going the extra mile. The person who only does exactly what they are paid to do and no more will likely never be paid for more than they do. They have defined their own limits. But the person who takes the initiative to go the extra mile, to stay a little later to perfect a project, to make an extra call to ensure a customer is satisfied, to study in their spare time, to become an expert in their field, is making an investment in themselves. They are making themselves so valuable, so indispensable, that opportunity is forced to find them. This habit of rendering superior service accomplishes several things. It brings you to the favorable attention of those who can offer you opportunities. It builds an ironclad reputation for excellence. And most importantly, it develops your own skills, self-confidence, and personal power. It is the single greatest method for promoting yourself into a position of leadership. The anatomy of a leader. The 11 essential qualities. As you cultivate the habit of personal initiative, you will naturally begin to exhibit the qualities of a leader. Leadership is not about a title or a position on an organizational chart. It is a set of observable, learnable qualities that inspire trust, confidence, and willing cooperation in others. If you wish to lead in any capacity in business, in your community, or even within your own family, you must consciously develop these traits within yourself. 1. Unwavering courage. A leader must be fearless. This courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. It is born from unshakable self-confidence and a deep knowledge of your profession and yourself. It is the courage to make a decision when no one else will, and the courage to accept the consequences of that decision. 2. Absolute self-control. The person who cannot control their own emotions, appetites, and reactions is unfit to lead others. A leader must be a model of discipline. In moments of crisis and panic, followers look to their leader. If they see a calm, composed, and controlled individual, they will feel reassured. If they see a leader who is frantic, angry, or indecisive, that panic will spread and the group will lose faith. 3. A keen sense of justice. A leader must be fair and impartial. They must operate from a place of integrity, showing no favoritism. Without a keen sense of justice, a leader will quickly lose the respect and loyalty of their followers, as they will feel that the system is rigged and their efforts are not valued equally. 4. Definiteness of decision. This is a hallmark of all great leaders. They have the ability to gather the necessary facts, analyze them, and make a firm decision quickly. They do not waver or second guess. This quality comes from having a clear, definite chief aim and the courage of their convictions. The world makes way for the person who knows where they are going. 5. Definiteness of plans. A leader does not just make decisions. They create concrete plans to carry those decisions into action. They are master strategists who plan their work and then work their plan. A leader who operates by guesswork and improvisation without a clear and practical plan is steering their ship directly into a storm without a map. 6. The habit of going the extra mile. A true leader leads by example. They must be willing to do anything they would ask of their followers. They are the first to arrive and the last to leave. They demonstrate through their own actions the high standard of service they expect from the team, proving they are not above the work. 7. A pleasing and magnetic personality. A leader must inspire people to want to follow them. This does not mean they need to be a movie star, but they must cultivate a personality that is positive, enthusiastic, and approachable. A negative, cynical, or sloppy personality repels people. A leader's personality is the lubricant for all cooperative efforts. 8. Sympathy and understanding. A great leader is able to put themselves in the shoes of their followers. They understand their problems, their challenges, and their ambitions. They are not cold and detached dictators. They are empathetic mentors who see their role as helping their followers to succeed. 9. Mastery of detail. While a leader must be able to delegate, they must also have a firm grasp of the important details of their enterprise. They don't get bogged down in minutiae, but they know their business inside and out. This mastery builds confidence in their followers that the person at the helm is competent. 10. Willingness to assume full responsibility. This is perhaps the most defining quality of a true leader. When things go right, a great leader gives the credit to their team. When things go wrong, they assume full responsibility. They never blame others or make excuses. They understand that if a follower fails, it is ultimately the leader who has failed in their training, guidance, or selection. This willingness to take the blame earns undying loyalty. 11. The power of cooperation. A leader is a master of applying the mastermind principle. They know how to foster a spirit of harmony and teamwork, and how to induce their followers to coordinate their efforts toward the achievement of the group's definite chief aim. They build bridges, not walls. The two paths of leadership. Influence versus force. There are fundamentally two ways to lead people, by consent or by force. Leadership by force relies on intimidation, fear, and the authority of a position. The leader who rules by force coerces their followers into action. This form of leadership is always temporary and incredibly brittle. It breeds resentment, stifles creativity, and encourages the bare minimum of effort. The moment the leader's back is turned, or their power is diminished, their followers will abandon them or even work to sabotage them. History is a long, sad story of the inevitable collapse of every leader, government, and empire that was built upon force. Leadership by consent, on the other hand, is the leadership of influence. This is the only form of leadership that endures. The leader who leads by consent has earned the position through their character, their competence, and their dedication to the well-being of the group. Their followers are not driven by fear, but pulled by inspiration. They cooperate willingly because they believe in the leader, they believe in the mission, and they know the leader believes in them. This is the leadership that builds great companies, inspires social movements, and creates a legacy that lasts. It is the only form of leadership worth aspiring to, and it is the natural outcome of cultivating the 11 qualities we have discussed. To become such a leader, is to accept a great burden. The price of leadership is unwavering responsibility, but the rewards are beyond measure. The reward is not just the achievement of your own definite chief aim, but the profound satisfaction of having helped others achieve theirs. Your journey to success cannot be a passive one. You must seize the wheel. You must cultivate the habit of initiative until the command, "Do it now," is etched into your subconscious mind. Start where you stand, with the tools you have. Take the first step, no matter how small. As you consistently demonstrate this personal power of initiative and render service that makes you indispensable, you will inevitably rise. You will begin to exhibit the qualities of leadership, not because you seek a title, but because you have become a person who makes things happen. Stop waiting. The world is run by those who show up and take action. Be one of them. Chapter 5. Cultivating Personal Power and Influence. Throughout our journey so far, we have been assembling the components of a great and purposeful life. We have the definite chief aim as our guide, the unshakable self-confidence as our fuel, the mastermind as our engine, and the force of initiative and leadership as our accelerator. Now, we must address the atmosphere through which we travel, the invisible force that can either create immense drag, holding us back, or provide a powerful tailwind, propelling us forward at an incredible speed. This force is your personal power and influence. There is a profound difference between the power that comes from a title on a door and the power that radiates from the person standing within it. Positional power is borrowed. It is temporary. It can be given, and it can be taken away in an instant. The moment the title is gone, the power vanishes. But personal power is earned. It is authentic. It is the cumulative result of your character, your competence, and your conduct. It is a force that resides within you, a magnetic quality that cannot be stripped away by circumstance. It is the ability to gain the willing cooperation of others, to inspire action, and to move people not through command and control, but through respect and persuasion. The principles we have already covered are the very generators of this power. Your definite aim gives your power direction. Your self-confidence gives it presence. Your mastermind amplifies it. Your initiative demonstrates it. This chapter, then, is about how to consciously focus, refine, and project that power to create influence in the world. Think of a planet. A small, cold, inert asteroid drifting through space has almost no gravitational pull. It affects nothing outside its immediate presence, but a massive, energetic star possesses an immense gravitational field, a powerful, invisible force that pulls entire worlds into its orbit, organizes them into a system, and provides them with light and energy. This chapter is the science of becoming that star, a center of gravity to which people, opportunities, and resources are naturally and willingly drawn. The 3 pillars of personal power, the foundation of influence. Personal power, this magnetic influence, is not a single attribute, but a powerful chord struck from 3 distinct notes played in perfect harmony. To cultivate this power, you must diligently and patiently develop each of these 3 foundational pillars. Pillar 1. Unimpeachable character and integrity. This is the granite bedrock upon which all lasting influence is built. Without it, everything else is a house of cards, destined to collapse. Character is not your reputation, which is what people think you are. Character is the reality of who you are, especially when no one is watching. It is the unwavering commitment to honesty, to keeping your word, to operating from a deeply ingrained moral compass. In a world that often seems to reward shortcuts and deception, integrity is the ultimate competitive advantage. It is the currency of trust. And trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships and all successful enterprises. When people know with absolute certainty that your word is your bond, they will flock to you. They will want to do business with you, work for you, and form alliances with you, because you are a known and reliable quantity in a world of variables. Think of your character as a bank account. Every time you tell the truth, every time you keep a promise, every time you do the right thing when it would have been easier to do otherwise, you make a significant deposit. Every lie, every broken commitment, every act of duplicity is a massive, often irreversible withdrawal. A person of great influence is simply someone who has amassed an enormous surplus in their character account over a lifetime of consistent, honorable conduct. This is not a part-time policy. It must be a full-time, non-negotiable principle of your existence. Pillar 2. Applied knowledge and unquestionable competence. Character creates trust, but competence creates respect. You cannot hope to influence people in matters where you are ignorant. Personal power is deeply rooted in being exceptionally good at what you do. Napoleon Hill makes a critical distinction between general knowledge and specialized knowledge. General knowledge, knowing a little about a lot of things, is wonderful for cocktail parties, but it rarely translates into power or wealth. Specialized knowledge, knowing everything there is to know about a specific field, product, or skill, is the raw material of value creation. However, knowledge itself is only potential power. It becomes true power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and applied toward a specific end. The world is full of brilliant, educated derelicts, whose minds are vast storehouses of knowledge, but who accomplish nothing because they never translate that knowledge into action. To build this pillar, you must commit to becoming a perpetual student in your chosen field. Read the books, take the courses, seek out the mentors. Your formal schooling is just the beginning of your education, not the end. The person who stops learning stops growing, and the person who stops growing will see their influence inevitably wither and die. You must not only acquire this specialized knowledge, but you must constantly use it, experiment with it, and apply it to solve problems for other people. The more problems you can solve with your knowledge, the more value you create, and the more power and influence you will command. Pillar 3. A pleasing and magnetic personality. This is the pillar that often gets overlooked by those who believe character and competence are enough. But this is the catalyst that activates the other two. It is the lubricant for all human interactions. A person of impeccable character and world-class competence can still utterly fail to have any influence if their personality is abrasive, negative, or repellent. A pleasing personality is not about being artificially sweet or manipulative. It is the outward expression of a genuinely positive inner state. It is a cultivated set of habits that make other people feel valued, respected, and comfortable in your presence. The key components include a positive mental attitude. People are drawn to positivity and repelled by negativity as surely as moths are drawn to a flame. Your default mental state should be one of optimism and enthusiasm. Genuine enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is contagious. When you speak and act with genuine passion for your ideas and your purpose, you transfer that passion to others. The art of listening. Most people do not listen. They simply wait for their turn to talk. A person of influence listens with intensity, making the other person feel like they are the most important person in the world at that moment. A sincere smile. A genuine smile is the most powerful and universal tool for building instant rapport. It communicates warmth, openness, and goodwill without saying a word. Control over your tone of voice. It is not just what you say, but how you say it. A calm, confident, and warm vocal tone can persuade where a harsh or shrill tone would create resistance. The habit of showing genuine interest in others. The fastest way to get people interested in you is to first become genuinely interested in them. Remember their names. Ask about their families, their hobbies, their goals. Dale Carnegie built his entire philosophy on this simple, profound truth. When you combine unimpeachable character, applied competence, and a magnetic personality, you become a force of nature. People will trust you, respect your ability, and enjoy being around you. This is the trifecta of personal power. The practical art of persuasion. How to move people to action. Once you have built the foundation of personal power, you can begin to practice the art of persuasion, the active use of your influence. This is not about manipulation. It is about creating win-win outcomes and moving people toward a common, constructive goal. The master key. Appeal to the other person's self-interest. The most fundamental rule of all human interaction is this. People are primarily motivated by their own interests, their own problems, and their own desires. Therefore, the secret to influencing anyone is to first find out what they want, and then show them how to get it by doing what you want them to do. This requires you to step outside of your own ego. Before making any request, you must first answer the other person's silent, unspoken question. What's in it for me? Frame your proposals, your ideas, and your requests in terms of the benefits to the other person. When you can sincerely align your goal with their goal, their cooperation becomes a natural and enthusiastic choice, not a reluctant concession. Suggestion is mightier than argument. Napoleon Hill was adamant on this point. You cannot win an argument. Even if you overwhelm your opponent with logic and facts and they concede defeat, you have wounded their pride and created resentment. You have won the battle but lost the war and their goodwill. A master persuader never argues. Instead, they use the power of suggestion. They plant seeds. They ask insightful, non-confrontational questions that guide the other person to the desired conclusion. I was just wondering, what do you think would happen if we approached it this way? This technique respects the other person's intelligence and allows them to feel a sense of ownership over the final decision, making them far more committed to its success. The power of giving value first. Reciprocity. Influence is a direct result of the value you contribute. Be a person who gives more than you take. Go the extra mile. Share your knowledge freely. Connect people who can help each other. Do favors without keeping score. Every time you give value to someone, you make a deposit in their emotional bank account. This creates a natural human desire to reciprocate. When the time comes that you need their help or support, they will be eager to give it, not out of a sense of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to repay the goodwill you have shown them. The responsibility and danger of power. As your personal power and influence grow, you must be eternally vigilant against its two greatest dangers, ego and unethical application. Power has a way of intoxicating its possessor. It can lead to arrogance, a refusal to listen to others, and a belief that you are above the rules. This is the point at which empires, both personal and professional, begin to decay from within. You must remain humble, teachable, and grounded in the principles that created your success in the first place. Furthermore, these tools of influence must be used for a constructive and ethical purpose. Using the art of persuasion to manipulate or exploit others for purely selfish gain is a dark path that inevitably leads to ruin. It may create short-term gains, but it will build a reputation of deceit that will eventually destroy all the trust you have built. Lasting power is always aligned with the golden rule and a spirit of service. It is a stewardship, a sacred trust given to you to create value and to lift others up. Your ultimate aim should not be to seek power, but to become a person of power. Focus on the cause, not the effect. Dedicate yourself with monastic discipline to building the 3 pillars. Fortify your character daily, become a master of your chosen craft, and cultivate a personality of genuine warmth and positivity. As you do this, you will find that influence is not something you have to chase. It will follow you, as surely and as naturally as your own shadow. Chapter 6. The Golden Rule and Universal Law. We have now journeyed through the powerful, practical strategies for building a life of success. We have learned how to define our purpose, build our confidence, assemble our allies, and take decisive action. But now, we arrive at the principle that governs the entire system. This is not a tactic. It is the very operating system of the universe. It is the moral and spiritual compass that ensures all the other principles work for you in a sustainable, fulfilling way, rather than creating a success that is hollow or, worse, ultimately collapses upon itself. This is the principle of applying the Golden Rule as a gateway to harmonizing with universal law. At its heart, the Golden Rule is a simple, profound instruction, echoed across every major religion and ethical philosophy in human history. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Most people dismiss this as a nice piece of Sunday school advice, a moral platitude that is impractical in the real world of cutthroat competition. Napoleon Hill argues, with the full force of his 2 decades of research, that this is a catastrophic misinterpretation. The Golden Rule is not merely a suggestion for being a good person. It is a profound and intensely practical law of physics for personal achievement. It is the secret to all lasting influence, all unbreakable relationships, and all enduring success. This rule is our most accessible interface with a much broader, impersonal, and unerring cosmic principle. You may call it the law of reciprocity, the law of karma, or as the ancient texts called it, the law of sowing and reaping. The name is irrelevant. The function is absolute. That which you send out into the universe in your thoughts, your words, and your deeds is precisely that which the universe will send back to you. Think of your life as if you were standing in a great canyon. Every action you take, every word you speak, every thought you hold is a shout into that canyon. The universe, like the canyon walls, does not judge your shout. It does not care if your shout is one of anger or of joy, of generosity or of greed. It simply, and with perfect fidelity, reflects that shout back to you. If you shout insults, insults will echo back. If you send out a call for cooperation and goodwill, that is the echo you will hear. This chapter is about learning how to become a conscious and deliberate creator of the echoes you wish to experience in your life. The Golden Rule as the ultimate business and life strategy. To truly grasp the power of this principle, we must move it from the abstract realm of ethics into the concrete world of daily action. Applying the Golden Rule is the single most effective strategy for success in business, leadership, and all human relationships. At its core, it requires a monumental shift in perspective. The average person approaches most interactions with the silent, subconscious question, what can I get from this? What can I get from this job, this client, this relationship? This get mentality is a recipe for mediocrity. The master of success, the person who operates in harmony with universal law, flips this question entirely. They approach every interaction asking, "What can I give? How can I add value to this person? How can I render a service that is so helpful, so exceptional, that they will be better off for having interacted with me?" This give mentality, which is the very essence of the Golden Rule, is the secret to all wealth and influence. Lasting success in any endeavor is always in direct proportion to the quality and quantity of service rendered to others. When you focus on genuinely helping your customers succeed, on empowering your employees to grow, and on supporting your partners to thrive, you are applying the Golden Rule. And the universal law of reciprocity demands that you will, in turn, be supported and enriched. Applying this principle requires the development of profound empathy. To do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You must first have the ability to step outside of yourself and see the world through their eyes. What are their fears, their challenges, their secret ambitions? A business that can accurately understand and serve the true needs of its customers will never lack for profit. A leader who can empathize with the struggles of their team will command an unbreakable loyalty. Empathy is the tool that allows you to apply the Golden Rule with precision and sincerity. Furthermore, this principle is your greatest tool for neutralizing opposition and turning enemies into allies. When you are confronted with anger, jealousy, or unfair criticism, the natural human impulse is to retaliate in kind. This only creates a downward spiral of negativity, an echo chamber of conflict. The master of this law refuses to participate. Instead, they consciously choose to treat their adversary with the same fairness, respect, and dignity they would want for themselves, even if it is undeserved. This act disarms the aggressor. It breaks the cycle. By refusing to sow seeds of conflict, you refuse to reap a harvest of strife. You maintain your own peace, and often, through the power of your example, you can transform an enemy's heart. Sowing and reaping, the universal law of thought. The Golden Rule governs your actions, but the broader law of which it is a part governs something far more fundamental: your thoughts. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are seeds. The subconscious mind is the fertile soil. The universe is the climate that provides the sun and rain. You are the gardener. Every thought you allow to take root in your mind, whether consciously chosen or passively accepted, is a seed that you are planting. And the universe, in its impersonal wisdom, guarantees that you will, one day, reap a harvest that corresponds exactly to the seeds you have sown. If you consistently sow seeds of fear, doubt, and worry about poverty, your subconscious mind accepts these as your dominant command. It begins to work, day and night, to attract circumstances of lack and to repel opportunities for abundance. You create a poverty consciousness that broadcasts a vibrational signal of not enough, and the universe faithfully echoes back a reality of not enough. Conversely, if you consistently and with great discipline plant seeds of faith, abundance, success, and gratitude, your subconscious mind accepts these as your dominant command. You cultivate an abundance consciousness. You begin to broadcast a vibrational signal of prosperity and opportunity. And the universe is compelled by its own law to reflect back a reality that matches your inner, dominant thoughts. This is the true, practical meaning of the law of attraction. It is not a magical trick for wishing things into existence. It is a law of agriculture. You cannot plant corn seeds and expect to harvest watermelons. It is a cosmic impossibility. Likewise, you cannot plant thoughts of failure and expect to reap a harvest of success. This requires you to become a vigilant guardian at the gate of your own mind. You must consciously choose what thoughts you will allow to enter and take root. You must practice mental discipline, deliberately starving the weeds of negativity by refusing to give them your attention, and diligently watering the seeds of positivity through daily affirmation, visualization, and study. A critical component of maintaining a healthy mental garden is the practice of forgiveness. Holding on to anger, resentment, or a grudge against another person is the equivalent of deliberately planting a patch of poison ivy in the middle of your own garden. You may think you are harming the other person, but you are the one who is being poisoned. The negative emotional energy consumes your mental resources, lowers your vibration, and blocks the flow of positive experiences into your life. Forgiveness is not something you do for the other person. It is a selfish act of cleaning your own house. It is the act of weeding your garden so that beautiful, life-giving things have space to grow, living in harmony with the law. How then do we consciously align ourselves with this all-powerful, invisible force? First, you must conduct a mental attitude audit. Become a detached observer of your own mind for a week. Carry a small notebook and make a note of the dominant recurring thoughts you have. Are they thoughts of optimism or pessimism, of faith or of fear, of love or of resentment? You cannot change what you do, not first acknowledge. This audit will reveal the quality of the seeds you have been habitually sowing. Second, institute a daily practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful and direct way to tune your mental vibration to the frequency of abundance. Before you go to sleep each night and upon waking each morning, make a list either mentally or on paper of 5 things you are genuinely grateful for. This practice shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, and the law dictates that what you focus on expands. Finally, begin each day with a service intention. Ask yourself a simple question. How can I apply the golden rule today? To whom can I render a helpful service? How can I add value to every person I encounter? By setting this intention, you transform your day from a series of random events into a purposeful mission to be a force for good. The principles of success are like a powerful automobile, but the golden rule and the universal law, of which it is a part, are the traffic laws of the universe. You can choose to ignore them. You can speed, run red lights, and drive recklessly. You may even seem to be getting ahead for a little while, but eventually, inevitably, you will crash. Or you can choose to learn the laws and drive in harmony with them. When you do, you will find that all the lights turn green for you. The path clears. You move toward your destination with a speed and grace you never thought possible, creating a journey that is not only successful but also deeply fulfilling because you are contributing to the flow of life, not fighting against it. Become a conscious sower of good seeds. Plant service, kindness, and positivity in the soil of every interaction. Do this and prepare yourself for a magnificent harvest. It is not a matter of luck or chance. It is a matter of law. Conclusion. We have now reached the end of our journey through Napoleon Hill's monumental work, Law of Success. We have explored the timeless principles that have guided the greatest achievers in human history. But to treat these lessons as mere information would be the greatest tragedy of all. This is not a philosophy to be admired. It is a blueprint to be built. You have been handed the keys to the kingdom of your own mind, your own potential, and your own destiny. Let us briefly retrace our steps, seeing not a list of disconnected rules, but a beautifully integrated system for a life of achievement. It began with the power of a definite chief aim, for you cannot arrive at a destination you have not first chosen. You learn to erect a magnificent North Star in the sky of your mind, a purpose so bright and compelling that it pulls you forward and gives meaning to all your efforts. With your destination set, you forge the unshakable self-confidence to make the journey. You learn to silence the 6 ghosts of fear and to program your mind with a deep, abiding faith in your own ability to overcome any obstacle and achieve any goal. You then discovered that you do not have to travel alone. Through the mastermind principle, you learn the secret of synergy, how to multiply your own power exponentially by aligning your mind in a spirit of perfect harmony with others, creating a third mind of pure genius. But potential without action is powerless. So you were given the key to the ignition, the force of initiative and leadership. You learn to cultivate the habit of doing what needs to be done without being told, transforming yourself from a passive passenger into the proactive driver of your life. As you began to act, you learned how to cultivate true personal power and influence. You saw that real power is not given by a title, but earned through unimpeachable character, applied competence, and a magnetic personality that draws people and opportunities to you. And finally, to ensure that your success would be lasting and fulfilling, you were given the great universal compass, the golden rule. You learned that your life is an echo, and that by consciously sending out thoughts and actions of service, goodwill, and value to others, the universe is compelled by its own laws to return that value to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. What is the ultimate message of this profound work? It is this: success is not an accident. It is not a matter of luck, birth, or circumstance. Success is a science, governed by definite, learnable, and applicable laws. You are not a pawn on the chessboard of life, moved by unseen hands. You are the player. Your thoughts are the creative force that shapes your reality, and your actions are the tools that bring that reality into being. The knowledge is now yours. The blueprint lies before you. The only question that remains is the one that only you can answer. What will you do with it? Do not let this be another interesting idea that you file away. Choose one principle, just one, and commit to applying it with all your heart, starting now. Write down your definite chief aim. Recite the self-confidence formula. Reach out to one person to begin your mastermind. Take one small action you've been procrastinating on. The gap between the person you are and the person you want to become is bridged by nothing more than the application of these laws. The masterpiece that is your life is waiting to be created. The tools are in your hands. The world is waiting. Now go and build it. Thank you for joining us at Summary in 15 Minutes. If these ideas have sparked a fire in you, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a summary that could change your life. Until next time, turn these ideas into action,